Hello and welcome back. My name is Hulda, and today I want to touch on where exactly I am in my current outline. Truth be told, it hasn't really moved much. And honestly, saying that out loud makes me feel a little bit ashamed, not gonna lie. I had a good plan, and it was fairly simple. I was gonna write 5 days a week, 30 minutes a day. If I felt inspired, I could keep going. But I felt like that was very, very doable. But for basically the past month, out of that time, I have written about 3 or 3.5 hours. So clearly nowhere near my goal. I basically was stewing in sort of my own shame of not doing something that I consider such an easy goal. Sort of letting it get to me instead of just accepting it and moving on, moving forward. There is power in strong emotions, but I think, and this doesn't apply to just writing, I think sometimes we allow them to stay a bit longer than they really should be or that they deserve to be. All emotion, good or bad, needs to be acknowledged and should be acknowledged. But to sort of sit and stew in them doesn't really move the needle forward on anything, giving them more air than they deserve. And that's exactly what I've been doing, even though I know better. And in a way, I've been using that shame as sort of a crutch. It's sort of been an excuse to not do my writing honestly, to just keep putting it off, and also sort of justifying my wait for, the inspiration to hit me. When in reality, if that's how I'm going to write, I'm never going to actually make a success out of it, because inspiration does strike, but it could be months in between. And if I want to make a living out of being a writer, I can't wait for that to happen. So I need to have some sort of a structure to actually move the needle forward, however little, day by day. I don't want to be someone that lets whole days slip away before I even notice that I haven't written anything in a while. And that's exactly what I've been doing so far. But to be honest, I'm tired of it. To be honest, I'm not really sure what the best path forward is. I'm still stuck on the second part of my outline. The first part came to me fairly easily and has been in existence for a few months now, to be honest. But I've been struggling setting up the second half. I know bits and pieces, but not enough to complete the outline. And the idea of starting to write before I know exactly what's going to happen just feels really overwhelming. So again, it sort of just freezes me in place a little bit. But here's the funny part. The outline for me isn't super detailed, and it's not meant to be. It's really just the architectural framework, sort of the key ideas, key things that are happening, as opposed to a super detailed outline. And then as I start writing, I will flesh that out and fill that out into more of a proper novel format, if you will. But I feel like I'm treating the outline as sort of a safety net. Like I need to know where I'm going before I even start, even if I end up changing everything along the way. I just can't make myself start before I know the ending, which doesn't really make logical sense, knowing that things involve and knowing myself that I will change things no matter what. To be honest, it's sort of like a weird pattern that my brain does. But I do have to say I am grateful that I have noticed it and that I am able to sort of put a name to it so that hopefully I can then, again, create a structure, a framework that I can work through that and stop being frozen, as I have been for the past few months, to be honest. Because now I can build counter actions and counter narratives to actually get the ball rolling again. Now going forward, I'm doing something slightly different. And part of that is to break the pattern that I've been doing, but part of it is also just to start introducing a little bit of consistency in my writing. Instead of letting huge blocks of days, weeks, or months in this case, pass me by without absolutely any movement whatsoever on my work in progress. So I'm dropping the time down to 15 minutes. And I still want to do it 5 days a week. And obviously, if I'm feeling, flowy and inspired, then I can go longer than those 15 minutes. But the goal for those 15 minutes is to set them completely aside. Like there's no TV, there's no music, nothing's going on, I have no responsibilities or anything like that. I can just sit. And honestly, it's probably going to be uncomfortable at first. It's going to be weird to just sit, and maybe for the first few sessions, nothing will happen because I'm really just sort of priming myself to do nothing at the beginning. And then I'm hoping that slowly but surely, I will start getting sort of inspired with that focused time. And I can actually pick out different parts of the story. You know, this particular scene is giving me an issue, or this particular beat, or whatever the case may be. And I can just think about different scenarios, different what ifs, if you will. And maybe it'll lead to something in that day, maybe not. But the point is, it's a complete focus time, just 15 minutes. And at the end of the day, it's not really about doing more, not right now. It's really about lowering the bar far enough to actually show up. And sometimes that's just what has to happen. So tell me, what have you been struggling with the most lately? Leave it in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.